else would that really have gotten attention like that, right? Like,
that's true.
We didn't have social media. We didn't have, everybody being a reporter and stuff like that. So that's why people now question exactly, and that's why they question it. Like, okay, was that real? Was it this? How true was everything in that? You know what I'm saying? So
I got it.
In today's world, man, it's different.
Everything is out
it's out there.
Everything is everything, huh?
You stupid. You stupid as hell. You saw his face.
You're watching Dead and Hip Hop Conversations. Thank you for watching. So if you're a subscriber, thank you for subscribing, thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. If you're new and just happen to click on this video, become a subscriber, check out our videos, watch the videos, and if you like what you're seeing, think about becoming a patron and support us. We really appreciate it. So today we are talking about Lauryn Hill, man. Robert Glasper made a lot of noise a couple of weeks ago with his tell-all interview that he had. Basically, they asked him to name an artist that was difficult to work with, and he did not hold back at all. Most people were like, yeah, I don't want to name names, whatever. He was like, nope, Lauryn Hill. So basically, he said Lauryn Hill was difficult to work with. She demands that everybody call her Miss Hill. She tries not to pay her artists.
Can't look at her in her eyes.
Can't look at her in her eyes. A whole bunch of stuff. We'll include the link to that particular interview in the comment section. But one of the most notable things he said was that she didn't write the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
He was pretty bold of saying, like, she steals work. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have maybe finessed that a little bit more.
We knew that.
Huh?
We knew that already.
You know what?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. That she just completely steals.
It's been rumored.
No, it wasn't rumored. She was sued. You don't remember that?
I don't remember.
It was in 1998 she was sued.
She was sued because she wasn't paying the people that said that they were, I forget the name of the group. It was like a collective of people.
I can look it up.
They said,
I think I do remember something like that, but I don't remember. I don't remember the whole.
details,
I don't remember the
yeah.
whole, like, she didn't like write shit.
they said that they were the primary writers on like
Right.
2 or 3 songs,
Right.
and that they were contributing songwriters for all of the rest of the songs.
Contributing is a little different than actual writing, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, if you're a contributing writer and a primary writer
credit.
on at least 2 or 3
And a
songs, you can't then say songs written by Lauryn Hill. You have to give these other people credit. So this was already known.
New art.
New art, that's
New
it.
art.
New art.
Yeah,
So why was the reaction of the interviewers like what? If this was like such knowledge like that?
Because it was coming from the horse's mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have Robert Glasper here. You asked him, who's somebody difficult to work with. He names Lauryn Hill. He has firsthand accounts.
Right.
Like, all of this stuff is hearsay, third party,
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
Robert Glasper saying, nah, bruh. This is what it was.
This is what we
firsthand.
found. Yeah.
And he's...
Oh, because they did say, yeah. Also, that's not a fake story. This is real life.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got you.
No.
People sued for a lot of different things. So, and that wasn't really uncommon because you see these type of lawsuits happen all the time. So, it could be somebody just bitter or whatever, but they were suing over, according to this article, song credits. And then, the times are different now. Like back then, an article like this,
Yeah,
it'd be like whatever. You'll see it or you won't see it.
Exactly. In 1998, first of all, I don't think it. And look, I'll date I was in 8th grade, so this type of stuff was not important to me. But I also remember in that time, like, maybe MTV would have picked it up with Kurt Loder and the little 15-minute thing that they used to do. But outside of that, globally or nationally, where else would that really have gotten attention like that?
But yeah, we're talking about an album that's heralded, as a classic. She, even now to this day, still gets all of the credit for the album as a whole. Like writing credit, production credit. She still gets credit for everything. So for Robert Glasper to say what he said and to kind of bring this all back to the surface and to, like Feefo said, to flat out say she steals work. Like, steal is a strong word to use.
What is she stealing exactly?
Well, what she stole apparently was that album, and I think Rose is Still a Rose, Aretha Franklin song.
But I thought
Not
that
her
was
only two
Aretha
verses.
Franklin song though. Rose.
Yeah, she sung the song, but
That wasn't her song.
No, it was Aretha Franklin's song.
Okay.
She sung it. It was on. Oh man, my
How
God.
did she steal it then?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Like credit for writing the song.
Oh, so Aretha Franklin isn't listed in the credits for that song? Is that what you're saying?
I think Lauryn Hill is credited for writing that song. So maybe she worked with Aretha on writing the song, but she probably didn't come up with like the music, you know, because that was something else Robert Glasper said. He like, she would get in there and she wouldn't know how to play tune on guitar. Yeah. You know, so.
But then like a lot of stuff back in the day, like people would just be the face of this stuff. And then like, cause I feel like it's a lot of blurred lines here.
But the thing is, right, is like, at the end of the day, you got to give people the credit for what they've done. And
This is not uncommon.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not. It's not uncommon.
Yeah.
But
In R&B, it's not uncommon. You have songwriters. Some
Right.
people write songs. You have songwriter
Exactly.
duos, songwriter teams, or whatever.
Writing
but,
team.
Right.
but,
yeah.
but they get credit for that.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they don't.
So this is not uncommon. But in hip hop, you know, it carries that weight, that mantle of
course.
you know, being the original artist to write all of this stuff.
But
in order
again,
to
I
be
think
held
that's
in.
why it's blurry, because you remember I always said that I came on to Lauryn Hill for the songstress, like her singing ability or whatever. And it wasn't initially for me the rhyming ability. It was more so just like she was a talented singer.
It says here that Lauryn Hill wrote Roses Are Still a Rose and Aretha Franklin just sang it.
And that's what I've always heard too.
Yeah, that she wrote it for Aretha Franklin. I never heard any controversy about that either.
Right.
Apparently the bassist, I guess, that worked on it sued her, and I guess maybe not for writing of it, but probably for the music part of it.
That's not really stealing.
Are we defining as stealing in this scenario as somebody's writing something for somebody to sing, but then when the album comes around, they're not getting credit or paid or anything like that?
I think coming from Robert Glasper, being a musician, he's just seeing it through his musician's
Yeah,
eyes.
through a creator's
and he's
eye,
putting
yeah.
himself into that scenario. I don't know that I would say she stole the album because I'm sure they were writing it for her.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that she stole the credit. She didn't give them the credit for what they did on the album.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what people are upset about.
And that still is a little questionable to me as well, because I just remember certain people just being a face of things.
And that's fine, but
Yeah.
if you look in the credits, I'm sure it didn't say Al B. Sure wrote his albums. I'm sure it didn't say Keith Sweat wrote.
Right.
Well, Keith Sweat might have.
No, Chris wrote for
Keith
other
Sweat.
people.
Okay,
Yeah.
so back to Al B. Sure then.
Okay,
I'm sure it didn't
yeah.
say Al B. Sure wrote all of his own music. It would say Al B. Sure sang the shit, and then you'd have in the credits who wrote them. But if you look at Lauryn Hill's album, it says written, produced, and whatever the other word was by Lauryn Hill.
So, like, do you think it's a situation where they may have signed a contract to say that you wouldn't see the credit or something like that?
I'm sure they did, because if they didn't, they could have
easily sued them. Yeah.
But the New Arc guys did sue. I just don't know if they won.
Right.
It was settled.
It was there you go.
Yeah, it was
so why would
settled.
they settle if it was completely fake?
In 2001, it was settled.
I think the whole main part of this wasn't so much her just stealing the album. I think Robert Glasper's point was you can't be as egotistical as she is
With
if
one
she
album.
hasn't done anything.
Right.
If you only half wrote the one album that you did that got you popular, then you don't really have a right. I mean, you shouldn't anyway, but you really don't have a right to be walking around here treating people like shit.
Right.
Like if Prince wanted to do that, all right,
Okay, you
I
Prince.
get it. You're Prince.
Like you said,
wrote your
like
shit.
you said, Quincy
You know what I mean?
Jones.
If Quincy
Quincy
Jones
Jones,
did that,
Stevie Wonder.
I get it.
Stevie
But none
Wonder.
of them really acted like
Right,
that.
right.
But if they did, it would be more understandable
Right.
than someone that didn't even write her own entire
You only dropped
album.
for somebody
And you only dropped one.
Tune their own guitar.
I give a pass for.
Even though we like it for the the stuff that he was talking about, but for me, I'm like, damn, like what was his angle? Like what was his purpose of like being?
I think he
chain
just
bang?
caught up. I think he just got caught up in the
Fuck
moment.
that.
You think he just got caught in the
Right.
moment?
Yeah.
He got caught up.
Yeah.
No,
You think-
shit.
I think
he's been waiting for
to
this
say that?
shit.
So you think this is his
Someone
moment?
treats you like that, I don't even, I mean, it was definitely petty, but at the same time, I think it's something that needs to be discussed. If you are heralded as this artist that made a classic album and you're going around treating people like you're the shit, but you didn't write all the music, you can't do all of these
band
things
like
that are,
shit?
and you're treating your, like, come on, like, I think that's something that needs to be discussed.
But don't most artists like that treat they people
Well,
like shit?
And they should be called out on it.
Yeah, he
I'm
said
not saying that
You know
they
what I'm saying?
should.
I know you're not. I'm just saying they should be called out on it. Like if you hear that, I almost said Chris Brown, but shit, I would expect him Chris Brown. Who's someone that you would think would be nice?
Patti LaBelle then.
Patti LaBelle,
fucking
thank
Bell.
you.
I would expect Patti LaBelle to not be very
She
nice.
be mama on set.
I don't know. I would expect Patti LaBelle to be like, okay, y'all fucking this song up.
But in a
Y'all
mama
fucking
way
this
though.
song- That's still rude.
Nah, not in the mama way.
Shit, what the, you ain't my mama?
You call it. See, Patty's your mama. You don't even know it.
All right, fine.
Patty, everybody's
Okay,
mama.
if we heard that Patti LaBelle was treating her artists or her band members like complete shit, would you be surprised? And would you think that's kind of fucked up? Or would you be like, well, shit, you did. Did Patti LaBelle write all her music?
Probably not.
I doubt it.
Had songwriters.
Right. So would you be like, oh, well, it's Patti LaBelle's understandable?
No, because that me being me, I never understood why that is the thing. Because I hear it with all artists. You know what I'm saying? Like they say Nicki Minaj treats people like shit.
Oh,
which
well,
of course, right? But it's just never been. I'm like, why aren't you nice to these people? These are people that could really control your destiny.
right.
Because
you know
they're
what I'm saying?
easily, not really. Her
Okay.
band can't make or break her.
Okay.
They're easily. It was the same way like everybody at YP treated us like shit. We were the backbone, but we can be replaced, and that's the way Nicki Minaj probably looks at her band. They're like, well, shit, I don't need you. I can go get
Maybe
somebody
that's how
else.
Lauryn. Maybe that's how Lauryn.
That's
Hill did,
exactly
too.
what Lauryn Hill
Having
was doing.
auditions the day before.
No, that's foul.
That was super
That's-
foul.
that's
You already
weird,
have a
foul.
band, and then you have an audition the night before, and you
but we don't know
But not even in a place to really evaluate talent in the fucking lobby of the hotel, bro.
I don't have a problem with that. If I was an artist, I would have every base covered.
Yeah.
If I have a piano player,
Yeah, you need to have a
and,
backup.
and I'm
Yeah.
flying to Japan,
Yeah.
why would I not
But
hold
I think
auditions just in case?
The way I understood it is that she was having a backup band to replace that band at some point.
That's how.
But
That's how
we don't
Know that. Yeah. We don't know her
know
thinking.
that.
We don't know her
But
thinking with that.
I
Yeah.
think her end game was to have a backup, and partly because she wanted to be able to threaten the band and say, "Well, shit, if you don't do shit the way I want you to, I got this Asian guy over here that I met yesterday that can play all my shit." So keep running your mouth, Robert Glasper.
How do you feel about her trying to make Robert Glasper audition over the phone or in person?
He was like, "No." I said, "I have albums. I have work out. You can go listen to my work."
But don't you think that that's fair for an established artist? No.
I'm
So
with you on that
so
one.
even an established artist should have to audition for something.
Most definitely. Just because you can play music that you wrote doesn't mean that I will like your renditions of what I did.
Yeah, it's like an actor or whatever. Just because you
Yeah.
fucking Denzel in this, you just don't mean you could be good in this
There
shit.
you go.
Yeah.
You have to audition. And I think that was a little bit pretentious on Robert Glasper's part. I got #1 album, so you didn't do it with me.
So let's go more to like Lauryn Hill, right? And this miseducation shit. So in your opinion, does that tarnish that album for you and the legacy of Lauryn Hill?
So it's still a classic album. You can't change the sound, everything that's put into it. She had some input on it, but I do start to question, like, I'll put it to you this way. Now there's a reason why we don't have a second album.
I can't stand when people are like, well, so-and-so's a jerk, so therefore their music's not good. Get the fuck out of here. Y'all never met Rakim. Y'all never met Tupac. You never met Biggie. Like, they could have all been assholes. We don't fucking know. The album is the album, period. I don't care who wrote it, personally. Because the music is there. The music is great. It's a classic album. Is Lauryn Hill, like, does it tarnish the way I look at her? Yes.
That's what I'm at.
absolutely.
That's why I said both, the album and her. So does it?
I've thought Lauryn Hill was on the freeway to trash for a long time. Because I've heard lots of bad things about Lauryn Hill. Lots of bad things about her. Not being a nice person. So the way I look at it, Lauryn Hill's a crappy person who helped produce an incredible album. But that's a lot of people.
No, it doesn't change the album at all. It was recorded and you can still play it today, and that shit sounds amazing. In terms of the perception of Lauryn Hill, it's interesting because it's only been in the recent years, I would say like the last 3 years, that I've started to hear all of this negativity about Lauryn Hill. So for me, it doesn't really change too much, because at the end of the day, I've always looked at her as a singer that can rap. And because I look at her as more of an R&B artist, if she didn't write her, even if she didn't write her raps, to me it didn't didn't mean anything. So, you know, but all of this stuff of her being mean and, you know, the way she treats people, yeah, that's fucked up. But to Mike's point, at the end of the day, I don't have to deal with Lauryn Hill on a personal basis. So I personally don't give a fuck. Just like Kanye, like, Nick, give me the work. Just get, if the work is good, I don't personally care how you are personally. Like, I don't have to deal with you.
The album will still be the album. It's a classic still. Unlike Feefo, yeah, I've been hearing about these the horrible things about Lauryn Hill, about how, you know, how her attitude towards the band members, just her attitude towards people in her life, and just, you know, her being late to her shows. Like, that's like, all that stuff is just like, that is not new at all. That's been going on for almost damn near since she released her first album. Just like Ken said, yeah, of course, by it being more of the R&B side of her creativity, more so of the rapping side. Cause yeah, I remember when this album was about to come out, I was thinking we was gonna get How Many Mics Lauryn Hill. Like, that was the Lauryn Hill I was hoping for. But, you know, she showed the talent, like Ken said, that pretty much put her on the map. So from that point, from a writing standpoint, don't really mess nothing up.
I think this is one of those moments where we go back to the old cliche, man, separating the art from the artist. You know, sometimes I feel that's a cop out, but, you know, with Lauryn and this situation she's going through, you know, maybe it applies here.